Hi, my name is Scott Lake. I live in Colorado in the United States of America, and I'm excited to be taking this Intro to Music Production course with the rest of you around the world. It's kind of exciting that we're all learning this material at the same time. In my example this week, I'm going to show the practical use of sends and returns in the DAW software that I use, which is called Tracktion. Tracktion is not a very popular DAW software, mainly because it does not use a mixer hardware paradigm. So much of Loudon's descriptions of where knobs are and so forth will not be possible in Tracktion because it doesn't have a mixer. You mix each track on its own track lane, but you can absolutely do submixes and groups and sends and returns. And what I'm going to show today is why you would want to put a reverb send and return in a post fader kind of situation. Okay? As the screen is moving or is progressing here, it's just basically playing through this audio track. And what I'm going to do is or show you how to do the sends and returns while the audio is playing, so that you can see how this is actually implemented inside of Tracktion. We're just going to have two tracks, this narration track, and then we're going to have our reverb return track, which is my aux track. And in Tracktion, you don't have very specific aux send and return tracks. You create them as you need them, as just additional tracks in the project itself. So the first step I'm going to do is to put a send in, and I'm going to put it before the fader in Tracktion. Okay? And so I've placed my send on the narration track. Now I'm going to insert the return on the track I've already pre-labeled reverb return. That's how I do that. And now I'm going to actually place a reverb there. And now I'm setting it for 100% wet, so it's only affected signal coming through that track. Now I'm going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America while moving the fader. And note what happens as I move the fader down. You will still hear the reverb signal going, but you will not hear the dry signal. And normally we would want those to fade in a combined fashion, not with one working independently of the other. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now I'm going to move the send so it's after the fader in the signal chain. And again, I'm going to recite the Pledge of Allegiance while moving the fader. And you'll note that now both the dry signal as well as the affected signal change in an appropriate fashion. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So hopefully that shows you why you would want to do a post-fade setting for a reverb send, so that you can get a natural reduction in volume with the sent signal as well as the returned signal. In reflection, I maybe made this too boring using just a voice as a signal. Maybe acoustic guitar would have been more interesting. Hopefully you learned something. I certainly learned something that I will not forget from this, and that is that reverb sends should almost always be post-fader.